Johnson & Johnson is a family company of about 200 operating units who supply healthcare and personal care products in virtually every country in the world. From this modest building in New Jersey, J&J maintains a corporate culture of service and social responsibility that consistently has their company ranked as one of the top 10 places to work. And it's not just a good place to work. Over its long history, J&J has consistently outperformed many competing companies. Known J&J products can be found on the shelves of stores everywhere. Baby oil, diapers, Tylenol, but other J&J products are less identified with J&J, such as Neutrogena, Aveeno, and Rock. Still others are less visible, medical products and pharmaceuticals that require regulatory approval and continuous innovation in laboratories scattered across the company.
And the whole decentralization policy, I won't even call it a policy, but the whole practice of decentralization is so ingrained in this organization that each business unit, each functional group is actually able to do its own thing. And that's part of the strength of J&J, of why we are the way we are.
And then we've got this one coming up on the 10th, which is tomorrow.
If there's no centralized structure, then what binds this corporation together in a single culture? Well, J&J is a family company founded 5 generations ago by Robert Johnson. But it was the founder's grandson, Robert Wood Johnson, affectionately referred to as the General, who turned J&J into the global company that it is today. The General brought in professional management and expanded both geographically and through acquisition. But his most important contribution was something known as the Credo. The J&J Credo is a set of value statements that guides J&J managers in the decision-making process. First written by the General in 1938, the Credo survives in almost its original form today. The Credo has guided J&J management for almost 70 years through high-profile decisions and through low-profile daily decisions. It partially reads, "We believe our first responsibility is to doctors, nurses, and patients, to the mothers and fathers who purchase our products. In meeting their needs, everything we do must be of high quality." It goes on to say, "We're responsible to our employees. Everyone must be considerate as an individual. We must be respectful of their dignity and recognize their merit."
You'd have to say the Credo is the corporate culture. It's the glue, as you've heard other executives in J&J will talk about. It's the glue that holds the 230 operating units together. It's a common set of values. It's one of our chairmen called it the North Star.
Any J&J employee will tell you that the Credo is not just another mission statement. All J&J employees go through Credo training in their first 6 months. All leadership training in the company uses the Credo as its basis. And according to this group of managers, the Credo is a part of their everyday life.
And then you eventually get to some level when you're in this organization that you actually believe it. And I think that belief system comes from, as you look around, you see people not espousing it, but demonstrating the behavior. And I think that's how it becomes ingrained. From a training perspective, we try to incorporate it in all levels of our training, whether it's an executive conference, people coming together, they'll have a dialogue around it. If it's around our entry-level supervisory programs, it's more of an orientation toward it itself. We created several years ago on the website an e-learning program so people around the world would get to know the history, the background, how it's applied, and how our leaders think about it. Within J&J, we have 115,000 people around the world, and one of the challenges you have is how do you sustain a value system in this organization that has a legacy that precedes 1935, that goes with the life of Robert Wood Johnson. And if you've not read the book on Robert Wood Johnson, you should sometime, because you get an understanding what the passion was about this thing we call our Credo.
How would you describe the Credo to somebody in order to, much like the scenario you described, in order to recruit them and kind of make sure that they understand it's more than, in addition to the Tylenol case, it's more than the philosophy, but it's more of a day-to-day part of what we do.
So many results are short-term oriented. You want financial results by the quarter. When I look at the Credo, it allows me to, when I'm talking to somebody, say, hey, we can take a longer-term view, at our customers, our shareholders, our community, our employees. So that longer term perspective allows you to make long-term business decisions. It'll keep you competitive longer term. That's how my take on it.
The Credo applies whether you're in New Jersey or whether you're in India. It's the same. How you personalize, everyone personalizes the Credo, which I think is great about the document. You can relate each one of those 4 paragraphs to your own personal situation.
And I think all of us who have been around Johnson & Johnson can remember a time when you sort of had that aha from understanding that it's not just a document on the wall, but it's part of the fabric of day-to-day business.
We had a customer issue recently where we had to go back and make some adjustments going back in time, and we said, well, let's go back to the very inception of the contract rather than just the latest period to do the right thing for the customer. So I think it's something that builds upon itself, and as I've been here for a year, I keep seeing it in a holistic standpoint and say, yes, this is the way to do business, and it makes sense.
I know with me, it was one of the reasons I came to Johnson & Johnson. It was down to a decision between J&J and another company, and trying to make a decision not only based on just what the job was, the salary, all of that, just the styles even of the managers who were interviewing me between the 2 companies. The person who interviewed me from the other company, it was basically, okay, you're on trial for about 6 months, then we'll see after you do this certain job, then we'll see about rehiring you, and we'll go from there. The J&J manager, who I ended up individually working for after that, basically said, you're going to be a star here. I just can't wait to get you started. You're going to do so great. I mean, really pumped me up that they really needed me, even though I was right out of college, and really supported me from the beginning that you're a part of the family the minute you get here. And that really, for me, sold me. And that I think that all goes back to this whole value system.
When you're weighing a difficult decision, you have this document that helps guide you in the right decision. It's almost like having the, for my place, the 10 Commandments. They're there.
What do leaders need to do? You as leaders, what do you need to do in order to be able to sustain that powerful belief system?
Many companies do Credo action plans on a year-by-year basis to look at areas where they didn't do as well as they would have liked. They see those trends, and then they're able to go back and put a plan in place to improve upon those areas. So, you walk the walk, but you also listen to the employees and make changes where they think changes need to be made.
If you were aware of a Credo violation or some act that violated Credo values, would you be willing to take that up the organization without fear of reprisal?
We don't publicize when someone does take something up because we don't want to talk about the Credo violation. But if we don't communicate that, people are perhaps skeptical that that something bad can happen if they bring it up. So it's a dilemma. I mean, it requires us to display a little of the dirty laundry, but we do sincerely show then that it is possible.